this is Jackie Green's Cats and Things, and yes, I'm dressed up for Halloween. Got my glasses off. I did have a hat, but it fell off, so don't know where that's fell off to. But anyway, we are at a place called Antwerp Mansion, and it's in Manchester, and it seems to be quite an extraordinary place. So I'm looking forward to interviewing the owner, and also I'm not here on my own, but I will introduce them afterwards, and that would be Ghost Raiders, oh fudge, I can't remember the other names, but I'll ask them when they come here. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm actually looking forward to exploring all these rooms, and yeah, and obviously at some point hopefully we'll go lights out. So hope you enjoy it. There you go. How awesome is that? I definitely need myself one of them.
And I'll just say, I'm Andy Mansion, and I'm the owner of Antwerp Mansion.
Okay. Andy Mansion has a certain ring to it. I mean, is that obviously, is that your proper name?
It is now, but it started as a nickname.
Right.
Because everybody was calling me Andy Mansion, it became my surname, and now my daughter is called Scarlett Mansion. So yeah, it's a family name now.
Right. And how long have you actually owned Antwerp?
15 years or so.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
So Antwerp was built, I believe, in the 1840s, is that correct?
1840, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
and obviously over the years it's developed from what it was back then to what it is now.
Yeah.
We spoke with the man who let us in, and he said that it's been a nightclub, it's been the Belgium consulate. Apparently Winston Churchill has been here. I mean, obviously you're nodding your head, so obviously you can. I mean,
Verify it, yeah.
Is there anything else that you can tell me about this place that he hasn't?
Yes, lots. But the problem is, if I start telling you all about the history of the house,
We'll be here all week.
because I do know it, I will then start giving you information which might lead your investigation. So I can tell you, the thing is, for yourself and for whoever's viewing this, I believe this, because stuff has happened to me in this house that I can't explain. And I'm not talking about ghostly apparitions going through walls, which I do believe in. I've just never seen any in here myself, never seen any at all. But it's not Disneyland tours, this is real. So you may go on your investigation and find absolutely zero. Very few people do. It's normally, there's something at least for anybody who's looking, and for some people there's a lot in here, quite well, a hell of a lot in here. If I tell you the history of the families that have been in this house, and some have been of some quite great significance, particularly in terms of who they are related to, it will start to lead your thoughts in a direction which I'd rather not, unless you insist. If you don't think it's going to affect you, I'll tell you who some of the people are that's lived here. And that then might mean that you might get names or connections with places that relate to what you now know is in this house. But the history of this house is known to me.
Yes.
So I know the names of the people that lived here. I know how long they've lived here. We've done heavy research into the history of the building. I know when it became a private members club. I know when it became a nightclub. So I can tell you the whole timeline for this place. But most of what I tell you, particularly about the earlier part, other than generalities about Victoria Park, which is a fascinating area in itself.
So Victoria Park is just back outside of your front gate then?
Well, we're in it. This is part of Victoria Park. The exterior wall of Victoria Park is just the other side of this wall. That was the outside wall of Victoria Park, and it ran in a great big loop all around this area, and the whole area was filled with Victorian mansions. And it was, you see, this I can tell you because this is general history without telling you too much about the people in the house. It was a private gated community. You couldn't enter it without permission. It had its own police force, its own electricity, its own water supply. It was the footballers or the movie stars' exclusive residential area of the 1840s, built for the new industrial rich that were making their money in Manchester, and deliberately built here because it was a very rural area with a small village called Rusholme, which is just the other side of that wall over there, and it was nothing but fields. So they built this community just for people who would be, by today's standards, multi-millionaires, or maybe even bordering into the billionaire standard, because it was a short carriage ride from the city centre of Manchester. So you could go into your business in the city centre, you could travel out within about 30 minutes in a carriage, and you'd be away from all the smog and the crime and the crush of being in the world's first proper industrial city. And you'd be in a semi-rural area surrounded by people who were as wealthy as you, and that's the way these people wanted to live. And it carried on like that until I think it's about 1910, might be 1950, no, I don't know, somewhere around 1910 to 1920. It was a completely enclosed community. The police weren't allowed to enter Victoria Park, I think, until 1930. Because it had its own equivalent of a police force. So it was completely secluded, and you could get away literally with murder around here because they were their own bosses. And these were people with heavy wealth and heavy influence.
So if something wanted to sort of say somebody wanted somebody sort of disappearing, you know, they've got the money to sort of buy people off. Maybe buy the police off.
I think that's a very reasonable conclusion. Well, you don't need to buy them if you can frighten them.
True.
And you're talking about with the police force only coming in what was it, the 1870s? That's when the Peelers came in, isn't it? The Bobbies. Because Robert Peel was 1860, 1870. So you didn't even have a police force when this place was first established. But this place did, because it had its own people to keep people out, basically. So this was a proper first. Since the Middle Ages, when you had walled cities, this would be the first, I think it's the first, certainly in the UK, possibly in the whole of Europe, where they came up with this idea of gating an entire community. Now it's not so much of a big thing because there's lots of gated communities in wealthy areas all over the place. I think particularly in Hollywood with all movie stars where they have their own security force, they have their own wall, etc, etc, etc. This was way before all of that, but for the same kind of wealthy people to keep them separate from everybody else. Now that means we've been able to find out who they are and trace their history. So I could tell you who they are. And there's definitely one who I'm very curious about because we know who he was and his family and all the connections, and he's got a very big connection with this place. Well, he lived there and his family did and so on. But very sketchy trying to find out what his particular business was. And I'm teetering on going into detail that might lead you in certain directions. Now, if you want me to do that, I'm happy to do it. But if you want to save that until after your investigation, you'll have to ask me for a second conversation.
Right,
so
basically, Andy, if you just give me some of the experiences that you've had in the property.
Oh, you don't want to know about the history?
Give us a bit of history.
All right.
Basically, when it was dated back to, what it was basically along the timeline, and then obviously some of your experiences, if you can, please.
So you want to know what's happened to me in it?
Yes.
Of course, yeah, well, you're the main person here, and obviously there's other people as well, so yes.
Well, in terms of what's happened to me, well, it happened to Marcus as well, who showed you around earlier on.
Yes.
Upstairs, we use it as a cinema room now, the ballroom.
Yes, I've seen that one, it's nice.
I was sitting roughly where I am now, but upstairs, about a year ago. No, it'd be a bit more than a year, because it was in the summer, and it was warm evening, about 7 o'clock, and we were setting up the projector there to watch a movie, and I'm sat on my own, and I'm over on this side of the room. Now, when you go upstairs, there's glass windows up there, but they're triple glazed. We triple glazed them for soundproofing when it was a nightclub. and so there's nothing can come through there because it's absolutely airtight, and it was done for sound. Down here, as you can see, that used to be a window, and that's all bricked up, triple bricked, then for the same reason. So this place is airless. I'm sat up there waiting for my friends to arrive and come and join me. And from left to right, so literally I'm sat like this, and left to right, a breeze went right through my body. And I've tried to explain it, and I can only explain it as cold but not unpleasant. So it didn't feel like there was any malignant intent. It wasn't like trying to chill me and make me feel unpleasant, but it was going through me. And it was a warm night, and it was a cold wind. And I looked up and I'm like, well, them windows broken or something like that. And I'm like, no. And I sat there for a few minutes and I'm like, so something has been happening to me in this building. Because I've been knocking around this building for over 30 years. I used to come in here when it was a snooker club.
Yes,
So,
I can tell by the tables there.
Yeah, we turned them into the stage for the nightclub. So probably stuff like this has been happening to me for decades. And until we started to have ghost hunters like yourselves coming around, and I started to say, what should I be looking out for? What should I be listening out for? And people started to say, has this happened to you? Has that happened to you? Has the other happened to you? And I go, no. But then I just write that off as a gust of wind. And that's what I would have done. And so chances are this has happened again and again and again and again.
You've just not
paid no
noticed.
attention to it. But what confirmed it was the next night, there were three of us. So I was sat more or less where I'd been, but it's towards the middle of this room, but upstairs. Marcus was on my left, and there was another friend of ours called Manny sat on the other side, and we were waiting for the other people to arrive, and it happened again in exactly the same spot. And I noticed Manny and Marcus jump up like that for a second. And I leaned forward and I said to Manny, what just happened to you? And he described almost exactly the same experience as I'd had the night before. And I said to Marcus, what happened to you? And he said, yeah, exactly the same. So you met Marcus tonight, and
yes.
You're meeting me now.
They haven't. I don't think you've seen. They've not seen Marcus.
Right.
Just myself and Simon seen him, and he showed us all around the rooms and everything.
So since then, I've asked lots of people who've been up there and done investigations like yourself, and I keep getting from other people whether they know about what's happened to me or not. Because in general, I don't tell anyone until they've done their investigation. It's children running around in the ballroom upstairs.
I was actually going to say that.
Yeah, because obviously if it's a whirlwind, they're obviously they're going to be rushing past you.
So don't know any more than that, but there are children in the ballroom, and sometimes they'll grab your hand.
That's cool.
Had quite a few people say that you get your hand held and it comes from down there, so it's like
child's height, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier on when I was upstairs, I actually thought there was a child knocking around, so yeah.
Now that could be my daughter Scarlett. She remember, but she wouldn't be up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this child wasn't alive.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
fine.
she couldn't.
Fine.
Yeah.
If you,
Minnie's,
you can sense them.
Minnie's,
See, I
Minnie's an
can't,
empath.
So I've only got. Sorry.
Minnie's an empath, sensitive,
right.
and so am I.
So,
Right. Well,
yes.
You see, I don't believe I am, but then it's often not men who can sense
well,
anyway.
maybe you are. It's just that you're not home doing enough.
True. And also I'm not looking for it. And also I'm not scared of it.
No.
So it's like,
Well,
not really going to faze me one way or the other.
It's your home anyway at the end of the day, so it just comes all with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I call them the other residents.
Yeah.
This is my place, so they treat me with courtesy.
Yeah. And they all share it with you, don't they?
Now, this has been a house since the 1840s till about 1921, when it then was turned into a private members club that opened in 1922. The Earl of Derby opened it, right? Now, while it was a house, you've had a lot of births. Well, I suspect births, but certainly deaths in the building, because that was quite normal. Dying in a hospital is rather a modern thing. So there's definitely people died in this house, and we found the names of the people that have died.
Okay.
Whether that means they've left anything behind or not, can't tell you, but definitely there's people that have deceased in this house. It goes on as two houses. It was originally two families living next to each other, and it was split down the middle of the place. Then in the 1870s, a very interesting person appears, and this is the person that converted it all into one house, and I think probably built that great big grand staircase in the middle, because that's right where the house would have been split in two. Now, this person was cousin to the King of Portugal, And the King of Portugal came to Manchester to visit him and caused a big palaver when they came to visit, because that was in the 1870s, and that was when monarchs ruled Europe, all of Europe. So this was a state visit by the head of state, the head of Portugal. And Portugal and the UK have had centuries of friendship. So Manchester City Council went into full overdrive and panic because they had a king with no announcement in their city. He'd just come to visit his cousin. But within 24 hours, there was a great big dinner arranged and a state parade and all a civic parade, and all the dignitaries came out to greet him. He just popped up to visit his cousin. Anyway, this guy is the reason that it's called Antwerp, because of his wife, who was from Belgium, and
I've got Antwerp.
Antwerp,
Right.
And
yeah.
he had, I think, 4 grand houses all around the world, all called Antwerp, because of his wife and because she pined for Belgium. Because even though they were a happy married couple and they had children, she always pined for her home country. So they called the houses they had around the world Antwerp. Now, this is a very interesting guy because he's clearly very wealthy, but all you can find out is that he was some kind of trader, shipping stuff around the world.
Okay.
Don't know what, yeah. Okay.
And this, I think, links to something else that's interesting about this place and Victoria Park in general. You remember when I was saying Victoria Park had a wall all around it? So the whole thing was a secure area. You had a few access points, but they had lodges on them, and you had security staff. So you couldn't just come in to see somebody in Victoria Park. You had to be invited and you were vetted when you came in, and I'm quite sure they would have had some network of runners to go and check if your name wasn't on the books for somebody who was going to be coming in to visit, except for this place, because just over there to the right it had a separate entrance, and that separate entrance was in the outer wall of Victoria Park. So this is the only building, as far as I'm aware, that people could come in and go from with no reference to the actual security staff that are on the gates. And so therefore, no record of them coming or going either. Don't know why, but it leads me to the suspicion that this guy was getting up to all sorts of things that he didn't want any record of.
Does sound a bit suspicious.
Yes, it does.
Then from the 1920s onwards, it was a Conservative club until about 15 years ago, and that's when Winston Churchill would have visited. Now, I don't have specific details of him visiting, but apparently, I think it was after the war, but it could have been during the war. He went and visited every Conservative club in the entire country, and this was a very significant and important one for Manchester. So he will have been here, no shadow of a doubt about it. Finding an actual record of it would be nice, but there's no doubt that he would have come here. And he'd been an MP for Manchester. I think it was the Oldham Division, it was called.
Yeah.
And I think it was around about, was it after the Boer War? It was. It must have been around about the 1900s. But he was a Liberal MP for one of the Manchester divisions, as they were called at the time. So he almost certainly knew this place and knew this area, because Manchester was where he was first elected as an MP. Then it rolls on to about 15 years ago when I got it and turned it into my nightclub, which was Antwerp Mansion. And that ran for about 10 years until just before lockdowns, and when we stopped doing music events here. I still do music events, but elsewhere. I use other people's venues, and that's when we then expanded the opportunity for other people to use the building, because even though nightclubs only open at night, it's busy all during the day. So you couldn't do anything else. You were busy all day preparing for the night you were going to do, then cleaning up afterwards, then preparing for the next night, and so on. So since then we've been doing ghost hunts. It must be for about 5 years now, and with ever increasing results and ever increasing numbers coming through, along with the art events we do and the photography that we do and the music videos that we do here as well.
And then you had a children's party as well last night, didn't
Children's
you?
party last night. We had Coronation Street here 2 years ago. They took the place for
Cool.
2 weeks they were filming here.
Cool.
But yeah, children's party, yeah. So, but that's for my daughter, and that was a bit of fun. That was a Halloween party. So it's
Yeah.
it's never been a dead building. It's always been lively and full of fun. This place and full of activity. which might be why people get such good results when they're coming around here. And so far, relatively little that's unpleasant. I think people might have slightly unpleasant experiences because they get a bit worried.
Yeah.
And some of the people around here that I've heard from, some of the people who are not on this plane of existence, are not always the most welcoming. But there doesn't appear to be anything that's particularly bad here.
Right.
So I keep getting stories that are similar, and some people are not particularly welcoming, particularly not to females, but then it was a gentleman's club for a very, very long time.
Be different then, won't it? Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much
You're welcome.
for the information.
Thank you.
And we shall see you when we're done.
See you on the other side.
Yes.
See you on the flip side.
Yeah. Hang on.
Right, enjoy yourselves. Pretty sure it was the laundry room, because at the other end you've got a raised area where I reckon the tub used to be. You know when they used to the tub, right? There's water and drainage in that room because there's a lead pipe goes to what was an old tap there, and there's a drain there as well. And this room here is the boiler room. Now we found another room upstairs, which is the old servants' dining room, which we now use as our dining room because, you know, the house is basically the servants' wing, where there was no fireplace. But it was right next to the range on the other side, so the whole wall had bellied with the heat of the range. So that room would have been boiling up. This room would have been boiling up because the boilers would have been going all day through there for down here and the upstairs house. So I think this was a hot room. You imagine racking in here, if you're doing all the washing here, you're not putting your knickers out on the line around here. This is Victoria Park, for God's sake. You know? So I reckon that was an internal hot room, racking up on, you know, the old tight racks that they put
Yeah.
in, right? And you dry out all the laundry in here, and it would never go outside. How modern. But also, you look at there, you see that big fat lump of a piece of wood there?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not a floor beam, that's trunking for underfloor heating, 1840 style.
Oh wow.
Wow.
When we go back up in the hallway, I'll show you, there's a grate in the floor. So I reckon the boiler was running all day and they had some form of underfloor heating in some parts of the building. That's why that great big open staircase wasn't so cold. Because like a public library or like a town hall, a lot of these places have these grates in the floor where the heat would come up. This place, as a private house, had it as well. So, and that is your coal chute at the other end.
Oh, the coal chutes.
Oh,
We now
brilliant.
use this as our food store. It's also, I believe, the air raid shelter for the house. Because if you look up, you see there's girders right above your head. They're not anywhere else in this building, just that one room. I think in the Second World War they reinforced that one room as an air raid shelter. And also because the coal chute was there, you could climb out if the building collapsed on top of you. Or you'd have a good chance of surviving. Sorry?
I want to pass you that thing. I just started home canning.
Ah, we're doing the same. You're getting prepped.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of this stuff is grown on the grounds. We found a lot of our
Coal chute.
berries, not all left over from Victorian times that have gone wild. We're now starting to cultivate them.
And also an air raid room.
Get off. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just started water bath
Oh, you
canning.
have proper.
I don't know what that is.
You just fart, Simon. Oh. I heard a noise from over there.
Yeah, it was Simon with his shoes.
Oh,
Is it?
okay.
Yeah, I think
Right,
he knocked
okay.
his trainers together.
Spirits. Are there any spirits down here that like to communicate with us? That's funny. What's funny? That we're trying to communicate with you, or that you find us funny? Do you find us funny?
People.
People. Can you count how many people there are in this room? Can you count how many people are in this room for me? Spirits, I have a other device here. I have a word bank generator, so if you want to use that, please feel free to use it. Holly is holding that. And also, on the doll in the middle of this slab, I've put a K2. Please feel free to interact with that as well. Who's put the doll there?
Me.
Who's me? Come on.
Richard.
Richard.
I thought it said nature.
No, it said Richard.
The Ovulus said did.
Did.
Did. So somebody's put the doll there, but we don't know who. Is that correct?
I like it.
Okay.
So, do that then. I can do it. Done.
Come on, spirits.
That's the one.
This slab is an interesting slab for me because I've seen slabs like this before. Now these slabs, I believe, would have been used for meat storage.
Sex.
Sex. Does somebody use this for sex?
Good.
Somebody had a bit of how's your father on this slab?
24.
24.
Spirits, have dead bodies been stored on this slab?
Boys.
Boys, dead boys been stored on this slab. Right, I'm just going to turn that down a second. Okay, the only reason that I'm saying that is because the Hell House is a slab almost identical to this, but there's one in the Hell House which we can't get access to anymore. He's a lot older. And you've got to think that back in the days where there weren't any refrigerators or anything like that, places like this that are underground are being used for cold storage. Yeah. So that have maybe prepped, kept food in here. This would have probably been used, obviously, for storing things on under, and obviously it wouldn't have also been used for that. You know, if say that because the manor would have had servants, and if the servants maybe got injured or maybe died, they might have had people on here who've had.
I'm also wondering if this was actually a kitchen.
Could have been.
Because there's a cooker, there's a fireplace there.
There's a fireplace there, but there is also that there that's obviously been.
No, that's for the wasn't that for the barrels? So the
I don't know.
was it this one? They said
No.
Oh, is that the other one?
Yeah. So you know, you've got to think that these slabs would have been used for a multiple purpose slabs, basically, back in them days. Right, I'm going to turn the spirit box back up. So spirits, have dead bodies been stored on this slab? If so, how many?
Did I say 94?
That's what
I
I
don't know.
I would say.
I think maybe we can possibly
Yeah,
depart.
Yeah.
Somebody departed this world while laid on this slab. What's the obvious sailor? Moment. Do we have to wait a moment for you to tell us?
Receipt.
Who's drawn a pentagram on this slab and placed a doll in the centre of the pentagram?
Moonshine.
I'll tell you what, Spirit, I'm going to point my camera towards the door. Maybe you want to walk into this room while we are in here. And you will walk into this room and take a seat with us. There is an empty chair there. Maybe you'd like to take a seat.
Or can you move the door?
Can that door be moved? Yes, that door can be moved. So can you move that door? It is free to move. Can you close it or can you open it a bit more? Nice. It'd be fantastic if you could.
No.
Why not?
It said too hard and then...
No, yeah.
Okay, is there anything else?
That's fair enough.
Is there anything else that you could possibly move for us then, or you know? Tell you what, there is a battery here for my camera. Can you move that? I'll leave it there. Can you move it? Just throw it off of the table onto the floor.
I can't. It said I can't.
Why can't you?
If you're not strong enough. Doll.
Doll, yes,
Doll,
the doll
yeah.
here, there's a doll. Maybe you'd like to throw that off of the table. It's in the middle of a pentagram. There's a K2 on it. Maybe you can light the lights on the K2 up while you throw the doll off of the centre.
Ovula said light.
Light.
Light. Mm.
Okay.
That said Holly.
Did you just hear a bang?
I
Yes.
certainly did.
Yes, there was a bang upstairs.
There's a bang upstairs.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
That was
sorry.
a deep thud.
I'm back in a second. No, you alright? You alright down here?
Sal.
That was me in the chair.
What? What's up?
Just heard a massive like bang here.
What, in that hole?
Yeah, it sounded like on wood.
Well, there is wood in
There
that
is
hole.
wood
Can I just get
Yeah.
past you, Jackie? Let's have a look
Can you
in
get
the
past
hole.
me?
No, I'm past you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there is wood.
That goes outside.
Yes, it does. That's where the water and the rain's
Yeah,
coming
that's where
through.
the water is coming through, obviously onto this.
And onto the...
Yeah. Now,
But nobody can get in here because it's all gated off.
yeah, it is. I mean, there are obviously people here that, other than us, that obviously live here, but they're
Yeah.
going to be all tucked up in bed.
Yeah, they're going to be on the other side of the house as well.
Are you all right down here if I just zoom upstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you don't want us to come with you. Well, one of us.
One of you can come with me if you want. I'll look there. Neil, you come in. No? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come with you.
Okay, I think it could be a possibility that, yeah, we know that there's, well, we've been told by Andy that there's a child spirit that likes to play, and from possibly the evidence that we've got on the spirit box, and not only the spirit box but the ovulus, it could be that the child's spirit, well, the child when he was alive maybe had an accident or an injury and he was brought down here and he possibly died on this slab. Just from going on what the spirit box and the ovulus have been saying, that's my theory. You might have another theory. If you have, please, obviously, drop a comment. It costs nothing to drop a comment in the comment section below. You know, and we will we'd love to see what your comments are. Why not? This is, well, it was a private gentleman's club. Let's put it that way.
Yes, you can tell now, can't you?
I hadn't noticed it until it was pointed out to me, but there is a lot of here with chains on back of this mirror that we're all stood in front of.
Yep.
And there is a bed here that obviously has a cage underneath it, and it has got obviously a ratchet at this end with a string attached to it, and it has a ratchet at this end with a string attached to it. I have no idea what that is for. Holly, seems like you seem to know a lot about this sort of stuff.
That was like the old lavatory.
I don't know.
It does look like the old toilet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm getting sort of Brassic episode 1 coming to mind. If anybody's ever seen Brassic episode 1.
No.
If you haven't, I highly recommend you watch it. We're gonna do a EVP in this room.
In the sex dungeon.
In the sex dungeon. Yes. Didn't we get something earlier about?
It said sex.
It said sex.
Oh,
It
sugar,
said
yeah.
sex in the other room, didn't
Yeah,
it?
so maybe it was trying to tell us it was a sex room.
Yeah, possibly.
Mm.
Well, this looks like it could have been. I mean, there's a red bloody light above the door. That obviously, I would imagine.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm familiar with this sort of stuff, but maybe that is when it's on. Don't come in. When the red light is flashing, don't come in.
True.
So, EVP. EVP's turned on, EVP's placed on there. Right. Can we all breathe in, breathe out? That was behind you.
It's a drip.
That is a drip.
That was a drip,
That
yeah.
was a drip.
It wasn't dripping before.
No, it wasn't.
Is it a drip onto the wood above us, or is it a drip onto the floor below? I'd say it's above. There is the floorboards creaking above us.
I
as
just
well.
did that, yeah.
Yeah, the floorboards are creaking above us. Anyway, we'll do the EVP if we're able to. See what we get. Maybe we can aim as questions at obviously this room, what's been happening, and see if we can get anything to come through.
Sorry, there's chains on the ceiling as well. Remnants of.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, God, right there, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. EVP number 1. Spirits, we are in a room that has, let's just put it this way, some shady equipment. We had a response on the spirit box earlier that said sex. Were you trying to get us into this room? Obvious said
Down.
down.
That was somebody's phone.
That wasn't mine, that wasn't you, that wasn't Jackie.
That wasn't mine because mine's upstairs.
Mine's in my hand.
That was not a phone though.
Yeah, it was.
It was a phone, but it wasn't.
It wasn't any of ours.
No.
Is there a spirit in this room that wants to communicate with us? If there is, please use this device to tell us. Are you upstairs and are you making the creaking on the floorboards? That sounds like. What's that say?
Poor.
Poor.
Sounds like somebody's tapping on that thing there outside.
Human.
Did somebody use this at some point? If you are a spirit and you are an old spirit, you will have seen a lot of things happen in this room. Can you tell us if this room was used a lot? Me walking, me turning off.
Yeah. There was something there, weren't there?
Sounded like some sort of tapping.
We'll sit that side.
You know what it actually sounds like? It could be the drops, but I don't know, because the drops aren't that loud.
No.
But the drops aren't that loud, and what's coming through on obviously the voice recorder are obviously a lot louder. This is going to sound a little bit pervy, a bit kinky, but to me it sounds like whip. Just bear with me.
Yeah.
Bear with me. You should, hold that.
Yes, most people get put on the cross to be whipped and tortured.
Yeah, I mean.
It's a BDSM cross.
Yeah, so you hold that. So you're here on the cross on this, and you've got obviously you strap to that, and you're obviously looking at this lovely wall.
Spread your legs.
Yeah.
Further.
So it did. I mean, that's just what it did sound like, somebody being whipped.
No way.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can sort of think of. You know, just that sort of whipping noise.
That's
Thank
cool.
you.
Do another one.
We'll do another one. And see what.
I'm just going to turn the ovulus off for a minute.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to put the REM pod, the K2 on as well. So the K2 is turned on. Right, everybody sat down, and is everybody...
Hello, everybody.
No, we're not sat down, we're stood up enough.
Yeah. Okay, is everybody stood quiet and smooth and calm and...
Yep.
Okay. Right, we're recording. Spirits, we've just done an EVP on this device here. And to me, it did sound like somebody being whipped. Are you able to confirm that somebody down here was whipped? See, those last two taps, would be quite loud on this. That one will.
Mm-hmm.
So when we listen back, we'll know if the previous taps that did sound like whips and those are the same. You know what I mean? And then we can debunk it.
Okay.
Okay. What else happened in this room, spirits? I mean, this device that the camera and the EVP and the K2 are on is obviously something for torture, for personal gratification,
For tying people down and restricting them.
Says the voice of experience. Did that happen in this room? Did you witness it happen in this room? Just say yes if you did.
Okay, we're down to 4 of us now. Hi.
That sounds like a little child.
That was a child. Can you tell me your name? Is that a little girl or a little boy?
I'm sure it said I'm Steph.
Yeah.
Is there a little girl or a little boy here? I'm sure that's a
You saw.
Yeah.
Where did I see you?
Have we seen you on the stairs?
That would have been earlier, weren't it? Tonight. Child.
Yeah. Are you a little boy? Are you the one that's been making the footsteps?
I was making the, and then, yeah.
Were you trying to play with us? If you run around now, we might be able to hear your footsteps again.
Can you play with the ball? What's in the room?
Simon, is that you?
We've got some little balls on the sofa here, well, on the chairs here. If you want to come and play with them, we've brought them up for you.
There is also one next to the doll that's on the chair. And if you mute them, they'll light up.
That's going mad.
No.
Hang on.
Aggie, are you here? Can you speak to us through this box? Aggie, can I communicate with you right now, please?
Can't see anything.
No. Please play with those lights on that doll.
I can't see it.
Just took it on me.
That's bizarre.
I was going to say,
Let me try something.
it's been doing that most of the night, hasn't it, whenever you've used it?
Yeah, if the batteries are going, normally the light goes dull. You know, the first green light.
Yeah.
It normally goes dull, and it's not. It's like, okay. It's just going off. So maybe, I don't know, but we'll
Either that's faulty, or if that's a spirit that's touching that device, can you stop it, please?
step away from that device. Step away. I'm on flight mode. I've just put myself on flight mode.
It's kind of stopping, but
Yeah, but
No.
not properly.
I'm on flight mode. This one that I'm recording on hasn't even got the SIM card in.
Tell you what, we'll discount it, we'll turn it off. Because
Okay.
obviously,
You putting the thing back on?
Yeah.
You can sit down, Simon. You sure?
Okay. Oh, God, what was I gonna ask? My bloody brain. Oh, yeah. Aggie, if you're here, and can you speak to me through this box, please?
Aggie, will you help the spirits come through?
Yeah, probably the best one to ask her, actually.
Or do you want to talk to us through the spirit box? You can hold it. Would you like to talk to us through the spirit box, Aggie?
That was a child's voice said play. What do you want to play with? We've got some little balls here. Want to come and push this ball to one of us?
Crystal.
Do you not want to communicate tonight, Aggie? You usually do.
Always help.
How many spirits are around us?
Or do you see us?
I don't see you at the moment. Is there a possibility you can try and show yourself?
Or even tap on something?
If you could make a loud bang for me, that would be brilliant.
You can use my energy if you need to.
That was me.
I can feel you making my hand tingly, Aggie.
If there's four of you, can you come closer to me, please? So I can. I'm not feeling your energy as much right now, so can you come closer to me?
No.
I'm wondering if we'd be better off to Simon's portal.
Yeah.
I've got mine downstairs.
Use that
yeah.
then.
Yeah, we could use that.
I'll go and get my portal. Okay. Any spirits in this room? Yes. Did Holly hear your voice? There you go, see? Thank you.
That was
Thank you so much.
Much appreciated. That's brilliant.
Puts
Puts it.
Did it say push it or pussy? I don't know.
He said puts it.
Cat ball off again.
Sound like a child then.
So who was that touched the ball?
Oh, thank you. Brilliant. Yes.
Can you say who it was that touched the ball?
Assault. Somebody assaulted?
This was.
Hannah.
Hannah.
And I'm not fucking filming. Hannah, is that Hannah that's touched the ball?
So nice to meet you, Hannah. Beautiful name.
Hello, Hannah. Could you tell us how old you are?
What's going on? I'm just about to ask that. Have I just heard your footsteps?
Yeah, I heard something out there too.
So I thought I was the footsteps.
I did.
Yeah.
I was expecting Simon to appear.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Whose footsteps are we hearing, please? Stop it.
Stop what?
I think that was another spirit talking to another one,
Yeah, they could be having a conversation, like telling them off, like stop communicating or stop doing something.
You're more than welcome to come and play that ball again.
Like to see the nice colours again.
That's just made our night.
Come forward. Is Hannah still here?
Side of my face is burning up again. But it's that side this time.
Ask Aggie to take it off.
Aggie, whatever is affecting me and making my face burn, could you take it off me, please?
What's that happening? See,
That's just the on-off button, babe.
Holly.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Who am I speaking to?
Sounded angry, didn't it?
Something Christ.
Who just said my name?
Was this room used for religious reasons? Was there any praying that went on in here?
Playing.
The Lord. Oh, the door.
Oh, I thought it said the Lord.
I thought that more.
They could have done with all the upper class people that was here.
Yeah.
Whoever is making the side of my face burn, can you stop it,
Your
please?
mom.
Sorry?
It said your mom.
I want you to stop it and I want you to step away.
If you are affecting Holly, I want you to step away from her now. Okay, I've just seen a shadow.
Yeah, I thought
On that wall there. Eh?
That's what I saw.
I seen it calling.
What?
The shadow, there was something there.
Oh, yeah. Did we just see you?
To that halfway.
Did I just see you walk across that wall? Yes?
I'm on the wrong side
Who
again.
are you? Are you a male? Are you an adult or a child?
Torture.
Can you come and set this cat ball off for me again, please? The device is sat on this red chair here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to communicate with me through that ball? If you do, touch it again. Do you want to answer yes and no questions through that ball? If you do, flash it for yes. Are you a child? If you are, flash that ball.
Maybe we should flash the light if it was them. It was the shadow just a second ago.
Are you an adult? If you are, can you flash that ball? Do you not want to, if you don't want to communicate with me through that ball, can you touch it again?
Relax.
I am relaxing. Oh, you're relaxing. Are you sitting in that chair?
He's sitting there and the balls off.
There's two other balls. There's one there in that black chair. Oh no, that's a red chair. And there's another red chair there with another ball on it.
He used to work here.
Australia.
Touch that ball.
Did you used to live in this house if you didn't touch that ball? It might be. Because it seems odd how it's not responding as much with that ball when I'm asking questions. Are you the Joker? Are you alright? Are you alright, Ollie? Sure. Are you the one I picked up on in here? Picked up on in here earlier on this evening? I don't suppose you're going to tell me if you're the Joker, are you? You've never sung one before. What is the actual time? 1 minute.
It's not 3 o'clock yet anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
People.
People.
Oh, people. Yeah, it was over this way, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah. I felt like a child that had been running around in this room.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt something quite low down grabbing his hand.
I'm just wondering that if it's a child,
Other one. That's it.
huh?
I said other one.
Otherwise, yeah, if it is a child, then is it possible that they're shy and don't want to communicate?
True.
I mean,
Children can be like
said it
that.
can touch the ball, so it touch the ball.
I keep hearing fucking footsteps out there.
Yeah, there's noises out there.
I think
That's...
Turn it down.
I bet that's Simon.
hello? That wasn't fucking Simon.
That sounded like a door shutter.
It did.
I mean, we have got the drips from over there,
Yeah. And that's absolutely...
but that was a door shutting.
Yes, it was.
Hello, is there anybody there? If you can hear my voice, can you come forward? Can you come closer? Can you make a loud bang so that we know you're here?
Is Simon on the phone?
No, I think he's downstairs doing a lone vigil.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like constant tap.
It does. You've got the drip in.
Yeah, but dripping don't sound like that.
That's what I'm saying. You've got the drip in. That then there's like
It's
this.
an empty bucket, fair enough, but it ain't. It's still got water in it.
It's a different noise.
That was from that direction.
Yeah.
There's a spirit here that wants to walk around and let us hear your footsteps. That'd be great. What are you doing? Do you like that we're here? Yeah, but there's a banging, like tapping coming from outside down that landing. There's a hell of a lot more activity up here than there is downstairs.
Yeah.
If you're still here, maybe you can touch that ball.
Can you make the ball flash again, please?
Maybe these energies aren't actually that. You know, I said I weren't feeling them like they were really strong. I wonder if it's coming in waves.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So one minute they've got the energy, then the next minute they haven't. It takes them a while to build
it
that
up.
up.
Oh, dear.
So it might not be a case if they don't want to communicate. It might
They
be
can't.
a case if they can't. It did state downstairs in the cellar, didn't it? When Simon asked if it could shut the door, it said through the spirit box, "I can't."
Yeah.
Also, if Simon's doing a lone vigil, he
Somewhere else.
might be pulling them that way.
That's true. Yeah.
It could be going balance in between. So every now and then when the game ball's in, they'll come up here.
Anyway, we've reached the end of our video and I hope you've enjoyed it. Everybody's links will be in the description down below. Sorry, everything's just turning around. See if we can turn this camera around. There's a big chair again. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share and subscribe, and Thank you for watching.